If you consider stating an obvious and objective fact as defending Blizzard,
Depending. And depending.
then that should tell you something about your criticism of Blizzard in this case. Shut up!
Shut up.
The guy who deleted his first one. He defeated this one. He deleted this one. He's back. He's back.
Tally's having way too much fun playing with his food.
Shut up.
Shut up.
It's definitely bringing politics into the game, and you're only engagement baiting. Fuck you and your commie followers who all have TDS. It's the same post. It's the same one.
He's dying.
I still don't know what TDS is.
Trump derangement syndrome.
I still don't know what TDS is.
It's an American thing. You wouldn't
Put a
understand
one in
it.
chat if you're one of my followers who's a commie.
Oh, me.
That just means you like Coronation Street, right? I think that's
Put
what it means.
a
You
million
probably
ones in the
like
chat for me,
censorship.
please.
You're the fucking one that's upset about someone expressing a political opinion. Wait, the very angry man is angry that someone is expressing a political opinion and goes onto someone's Twitch to go, you probably like censorship. Both sides of this petty as fuck. Just love, baby. How is my side of this petty as fuck? How is me pointing out that people are mistakenly saying that this is a Blizzard endorsed event? How is me pointing out that that is not the case? How is that petty? How is that petty? A genuine question, because I want to learn, I want to grow as a person, I want to be a better person. How is my tweet correcting like the misconception that this is a Blizzard endorsed event? How is that petty? Being correct isn't all that matters. Imagine just ignoring the entire convo because there's no winners. You aren't going to change minds. Wait.
Who's trying to change minds?
Something objectively false and being wrong, maybe not on purpose, okay? And someone saying, I can't believe Blizzard sanctioned this and this Blizzard put this in the game. And I go, oh no, don't worry. They didn't put it in the game. That's wrong. That's a misunderstanding. And you think I shouldn't do that? And you think to do that, to correct someone on a perhaps honest mistake that they're upset
It
about.
was an
That's the thing.
honest
Who are upset about this.
mistake.
You know? Like,
Crowd control.
if someone's upset that this thing has happened.
Crowd
Okay, so let's
control
put
to
this the other way
Major
around.
Tom.
If I was upset that this has happened, if I
Your
was like, I
healer's
can't believe
dead,
Blizzard's done
there's
this,
something
this makes
wrong.
me so angry, and someone went, oh, no, Tally, that thing hasn't happened, don't worry, I would be happy that someone had told me that. I'd be like,
Oh, thank God.
good.
I went
I'm glad
insane
the
there
thing that I
for a
was angry
moment.
about hasn't
Insane with
happened.
rage.
I would want it not to happen because I was angry when I thought it had happened, and now knowing that I was wrong and that it hasn't happened has actually made me feel a lot better and like literally made my life better. But you think that person was being petty? I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, you know?
A lot
But
of
I
us
have to
are.
say that
It's real hard to not
I
be
disagree
entitled to
with you
your
on this one,
opinion.
fam. I have to say that on this case,
Crowd control.
I disagree with you. If I was really angry that something had happened, but I was wrong and that thing hadn't happened, and someone told me that, no, Tally, that thing hasn't happened.
No,
actually,"
Tally, wait.
I would be
You're
glad.
going
I'd
insane.
be glad that A, I
Oh,
was better
what?
informed, and B, more than anything, I'd be glad that the thing hadn't happened that I was angry about. You know? That's great. That's really good. Do you really believe you're correcting people will make them go, oh, I was wrong, you're right, I feel better now? Wouldn't it make you feel better? If you read a tweet online saying that your mum was dead, and that made you really upset, and a doctor came in and said, oh no, don't worry, your mum isn't dead, wouldn't that make you feel better? Knowing the
That's who
truth?
Tally is. He's the
thing
WoW
that you
doctor.
didn't- The thing that was not true that made you really upset, wouldn't you want to know it wasn't true? I'm so confused. If someone was like, if I read online that the world was going to end tomorrow,
Anti-intellectualism
and, like, someone-
is
I
at
was
a
like,
peak
I can't believe the
fervor
world's
right
going
now.
tomorrow, and someone was like, it's not going to, Tally, don't worry, I would be happy that someone had told me that. I'm so confused by your stance on this. Do you think we should let people believe false information that makes them upset, when all we have to do is tell them that the thing isn't
And we're gonna
true,
fight him on this side?
and tell them the truth?
No shot we're fighting him on this
They
side.
would be happier because the thing they're upset about isn't real and hasn't happened.
Target you.
You know, it's not about winning. It's about, like, no, don't be angry. Don't worry. That thing that you're upset about, it didn't actually happen. Everyone's going to be happy about that. Not you. Then why are you fucking saying it to me then?
AOE incoming.
People like to say sometimes that I am like this really nice character on videos, and that the real Tally comes out on streams and I'm really aggressive and, you know, like kind of, you know, political and stuff. But I've got a massive reveal for you on stream today. The massive reveal is that they're half right, but actually
Run.
the Taliesin on YouTube videos is the real Taliesin. That's my real personality. And actually, this Taliesin you're watching now, this is a character. Like, if you're trying to find one of the Taliesins which is a character and which one is real, then go with the one on the videos, because this Taliesin is a character right here. Because if I actually said what I was thinking right now, I would get banned from this platform. And the fact that I haven't ever been banned from this platform shows you that if there's ever any platform that I'm presenting a character on and not saying what I think, it's this one. I love this one. I'm not going to reply to this one, but I love it. Blizzard is woke as fuck, and many liberals, I don't put companies and politicians conspiring together. Let's look at Twitter when Jack Dorsey was running Twitter and the Twitter files. This person.
Yeah,
was a
let's look
good
at that.
sit-down. Blizz are nothing to do with this event. You don't honestly believe that, do you? Yes.
Run.
I do not believe that Blizzard had anything to do with this political rally. Like, they
Getting
just
a
did
little
this spur of
intense
the moment.
here.
No, they didn't do any. What? Wait, Tally, stop. Tally, you don't honestly think that anyone just plays WoW spur of the moment? You're telling me that Asmon went on stream and played WoW on stream, and there was no conspiring with Blizzard about that? You're telling me Asmon hadn't had it planned all along that he was going to play WoW? It wasn't some part of, like, some fucking long game? I don't fucking buy it, Tally. Imagine that.
Doing good damage.
Holy fuck. Like, what do they think is going on here? These
Doing good
people are
damage.
insane.
We can also still
Why
time this
defend
key,
it,
by the
then?
way. We can still
Defend
time this
what?
key.
You know it has nothing to do, but I'm not defending it.
How dare you
not defending it.
defend this?
I'm
You son of a
pointing
bitch.
out that
Interrupt.
people who are angry about it being a Blizzard thing
Are
in
wrong.
game are mistaken.
It's pretty
Right,
fucked
so
up to
why
do,
is WoW
Tally.
reporting it? What a fucking terrible idea. I don't know, man. Why is the WoW news site, Wowhead, reporting
WoW
that
news.
someone played WoW on Kamala Harris's stream?
That's
Why
not how you
would they
pronounce
do
your name,
that?
but that's fine.
Like, why would a WoW news site do that? And by definition, anyone reporting on this is endorsing it, right? By definition. Anyone, like, by this definition, anyone reporting this event is endorsing it. So any right-wing grifter that makes a hate video about it is endorsing it. Just absolutely insane logic. I'm sure there are loads more comments on here since we've been reading them for like 2 hours, but I don't have the mental fortitude to do it. It's absolutely insane. And to go back to the original
He's
point,
got the reading Twitter
I
X comments
am just,
debuff.
like, at a loss today, honestly. I actually genuinely cannot fathom the depths of stupidity on multiple levels that I've seen people in this community sink to today. Like the lack of
I can fathom it.
the utter
For
willingness to
Queen.
be, like,
Yo soy Rashanan.
angry
Oh, he's
about
Latine.
something which is not only, which wouldn't actually be a big deal even if it were true, but also isn't true. and then the constant like scrabbling in the dirt
Bombs has
to
been
find
called.
something, anything that you can still be angry about in this.
Watch your step.
Or the just like the literally not understanding the clarification and what is actually happening, even in the face of multiple people explaining it to you. I honestly,
my
I don't
best
think
to get that
I don't
out.
think I've ever had a day
Had to
where I've just
run
been
all the
like,
way across.
why are people online so
Yes.
stupid? I don't know why you even give these people your time and attention. They are part of the WoW community. Every single comment we've read out here
AOE incoming.
is by someone who is a member of this community. You know, these aren't like I'm not going after people who, you know, I share
Son
no
of a
interest
bitch,
with just
dude.
because I want to find people saying
Son of a
stupid
bitch.
stuff. This is people replying to my own tweet. You know, these are people who consider themselves.
I'm out here
gamers.
doing some pro
These people
gamer
who
shit,
consider
bro.
themselves,
I'm out
like,
here doing pro
you know,
gamer shit, bro.
the same community
We're
as
about
me.
to time this key with a big fucking smile on our face. Talk to me,
So I was
Tettles.
perusing Reddit a few days ago, and I came across this post, and it said,
Ooh,
people spent all of Dragonflight Season 4
peruse.
demanding affixes be removed, increasing dungeon difficulty as a compromise, and praising the changes whenever they were announced. So what happened? And then the post goes on to say something like, you can go back 6 months ago and see the majority of people brigading for months, demanding that Blizzard update Mythic Plus to the state that it's in right now. Then you could go back 3 months ago searching Sanguine removed, Mythic changes, and affixes removed, and see that the majority of people praising Blizzard for these changes, talking about how great M0 is going to be for the,
The
casual player, and how
longest
cool the Kiss Curse
4%
system was,
in
and
the
how cool the Zalatath affixes
world.
looked, and how the removal of randomness is going to be great for pushing keys. So what happened? Isn't the current state of Mythic Plus exactly what people wanted? The majority of complaints now are that the gearing is too difficult, but no one really is able to explain why they need maxed out myth track gear whenever they just spent most of their time last expansion working towards AOTC or completing their 15s, yet their answer is mainly to stop gatekeeping gear. Those players wouldn't have gotten myth track gear last expansion either, and there's always been a ceiling to gear levels depending on your skill level. So what exactly is the disconnect? So there were a lot of people who actually went on to here and were complaining about basically the affixes in general, and saying that basically players were not right with what they wanted. In fact, they
Yeah,
actually
we're
would
still
prefer the
timing
old
this
system back and stuff
sucker.
like that. And I'm gonna kind of talk about and just give my thoughts
Haters
on
and
the current Mythic Plus
doubters
system that we have
in
in
ruins,
regards to what we have with
in
affixes. We've
shambles.
also seen a lot of people complaining about the Challenger's Peril, with this post saying 15-second time loss on death feels excessively punishing. A wipe on anything 10 plus almost always feels like the key is over. Many of these timers are tight, and many mechanics are a one-person fail point that can kill everyone. Losing 75 seconds
Just
for a
like
mistake
Mythic
actually
rating.
feels incredibly brutal and discouraging, to the point where most people don't even want to try anymore after a wipe. So let's take some time today to kind of talk about the affixes, and I'm gonna give my thoughts. And right off the bat, I want to say that I think that this affix system is much better than what we had in the past.
I agree with
People-
that.
And it's just like, dude, I was hanging out with some friends in voice, and somebody goes, "Can you imagine if we had bolstering on this key? Can you imagine if we had sanguine at the
Ugh.
very beginning of Stonewall?"
Shut up, dude.
And no,
Don't say
I
that
actually
shit.
can't.
That's fucked up to
And remember, you
say.
go back to the post from a few months ago that was talking about how the initial talent, or not talent, the initial affix revamp was going to work. Basically, we were getting 4 new affixes that were Kiss Curse affixes, but they were far less powerful than we're seeing currently in terms of the boon that they're giving, in terms of like what buff you were getting. And in addition to that, they still maintain Raging, Bolstering, Bursting, and Sanguine, which would be completely obnoxious in the dungeons that we're having right now. There are so many situations where, you know, bolstering and sanguine are just problematic affixes just in general, and I think it was definitely time to sunset them. And people
We're
are
gonna
probably not
time
gonna
this
like hearing this, but the affixes that they replaced them with
key.
are actually pretty good. I don't think they're perfect by any means, and I think that Oblivion, the affix that we have on this current week's reset, is probably
We
the most
did
problematic affix
it.
because it's so obnoxious
Let's
to deal with.
fucking
But in general, I think
go.
that these affixes are pretty good. The buff that they give, while it was recently buffed from 20 seconds to 30 seconds, is incredibly overstated, but people just don't recognize that a lot of the time. They're also changing some of the affixes as well, where, you know, Voidbound is now going to give a 30% CDR and 20% versatility. Getting 20% damage and 10% damage reduction for 30 seconds is
Well,
bananas for
now I feel silly spending the sockets on this ring.
killing an ad. Like, please, you guys have to recognize that this is actually a pretty good change. All things considered, these Zalatats bargains, and personally, I believe that these have been a smashing success, especially whenever you compare them to what they would have been. Whenever you compare them to things like Sanguine, Bursting, Bolstering, and Raging, I think that I would take these bargains 10 times out of 10, and I think that Blizzard has done a phenomenal job with designing this Mythic Plus Affix system. Moving forward, talking about, you know, Tyrannical and Fortified and how they end up affecting keys levels 4 and level 10. I think that Tyrannical and Fortified, while pretty boring, I think that they create an interesting amount of structure to the Mythic Plus system, and they're achieving what Blizzard wants. Now, I think that dungeons have been over-designed in the sense of I think that they're just too hard to casually play, and I think that that's a different issue. But in terms...
Well, I will now unfortunately have to spend a fair whack of gold to swap this out, which is truly, truly unfortunate, but it is what it is. In fact, let's have a real good time and do the math.
In terms of Fortified and Tyrannical and what they're aiming to accomplish inside of the dungeons,
Let's
they're
have a
definitely accomplishing
fantastic
that.
time.
And I think that having both active on the affixes, or on the affix set,
So
is
first up,
more
we're going to
positive
need a
than I
Masterful
initially thought it was going to
Ruby.
be. Having them always active at this plus 10 level, which is the level that I mostly interact with the system at, is either like, you know, over plus 10s is where I predominantly play, but having both Fortified and Tyrannical makes the system
Here, we'll
feel a
put
lot
the
more
calculator
whole.
on
And Blizzard
screen.
ends up
Whoa,
tuning
Tettles,
the
where'd you
dungeons
go,
better,
buddy?
because they're no longer just tuning around
Tettles, get
only
back
trash
here.
relative to Fortified weeks or only bosses relative to Tyrannical weeks. They're having to tune for both, and I think that that's a positive thing in general. Now let's talk about the Challenger's Peril. Let's go back to this Reddit post a little bit. 15-second time loss on death feels excessively punishing. A wipe on anything 10 plus almost always feels like the key is over.
So let's do
First
some
and foremost,
math.
if you wipe in a dungeon in general, your key
We're
is
going
going
to
to
need a
be over no
Masterful
matter if
Ruby.
you are
That's
on a
36,000.
5-second death penalty or a 15-second death
3600.
penalty. Challenger's Peril is just
We're also going to need...
overly
a
punishing
Deadly
relative to what was
Sapphire.
already bad. Checkpoints in Mythic Plus are already a terrible system, but you would wipe in a dungeon before, and everybody's leaving your group anyways. You're very rarely going to be timing a key with like a full wipe. I think that the bigger issue that I have with the Challenger's Peril is that it's overly punishing to like one-off deaths a lot of the
3,500.
time, and there's no real ramp up. And while, you know, you probably shouldn't be timing a key with a full wipe or something like that, you should be able to afford maybe like 4 or 5 deaths throughout
Next
the entirety of
up.
a key, especially whenever it's not like a super heavy push key. Whenever you're still trying to like progress throughout the dungeons, whenever you're progressing, I think that the Challenger's Peril is a little bit over punishing in that way. But I think that, you know,
Critical
whenever you look at
Strike.
this full discussion on Reddit here, people were so overtly negative about Challenger's Peril, but it's not even like it. Basically, you know, 75 seconds in a corpse run,
76.98.
you're already depleting the key anyway. It's like in the old system. Now, I think that we kind of talked about it on the most recent episode of The Bench, and I think that Squishy brought up a great idea
Now
where
we
there could just be
need
like some ramping system to
settings.
Challenger's Peril, because Challenger's Peril, frankly, is too punishing. Now, it could start where the first death is free, and then the second death is 5 seconds, and then the third death is 10 seconds, and then the fourth death is 15 seconds, and that's where the cap is. And I think that that would feel a lot more fair in terms of like death penalty. But in general, what you have to recognize, and a lot of people actually love to point.
So that whole thing cost me 25K. That cost me 25K. That cost me 25.
Okay. Point at Challenger's Peril because it's this new thing. This is the reason that they're depleting keys. It's because of this boogeyman Challenger's Peril. But what you need to recognize is the Challenger's Peril isn't the reason that you're depleting keys, and I think that Challenger's Peril isn't a great affix. It's because there are so many dungeons that have so many caster mobs and problem points that are very difficult. Take City of Threads, for example. There is this pull here, and this is just an average pull that a normal group could be pulling. It is a Herald and 2 Silk Binders. This pull requires about 8 interrupts to be able to make sure that everything's locked down, and that's 8 coordinated kicks. If any of these Heralds casts go through, ever, these Twisted Thoughts casts, if any of that cast ever goes through, then you basically just die. And that's on most key levels. Let's say, just take a 10 for an example. That's on most...
That wasn't even an eye level increase. They're the exact same item level. It's just I can upgrade this new one 4 times instead of just 2 times. Wow. Giga worth the 25k. But it's true. It's true. Still walking around with some champion pieces of gear. We got to replace those. Can't be showing off that champion gear. Just 3 champion pieces left to replace.
Key levels of which that mob is going to be killing people. So then whenever you look at, other things like Grim Batol, there are packs that people are pulling together that involve 3 Earth Callers, which require perfect kicks. There are a lot of mobs that are similar to these Beguilers that cast this Seer Mind ability that end up CCing people for extended periods of time. So people are pointing at Challenger's Peril being like, this is the reason that my key is being depleted, because in some instances it is because they've racked up a couple of deaths. But why are they racking up those deaths now that they haven't racked up in the past? And a lot of it's not actually due to the new affix system, but it's due to the over-design of dungeons. I think that's something that really needs to be noticed, is that it's not necessarily on the affixes, although the affix is the new and shiny system. It's just that dungeons straight across the board have gotten a lot harder for players. I think that things like removing CC, being able to like actually interrupt casts, is something that's like really difficult for your average player to be able to deal with, right? Because before, you would throw a CC at a pack, you in cap roar, or you would thunderstorm, you would press cap totem or something like that, and the pack wouldn't recast. Perfect. That's a great situation. But now it's no longer like that. Now that Beguiler, first off, you've just juked somebody's interrupt because they were trying to kick into that Seer Mind, and then you stunned it, and then that mob starts recasting again, and you're like, oh my god.
Still counts as an upgrade.
Right back where we started.
Still counts as an upgrade. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Because it means we can also put the kibosh on these 2 other champion level rings. Champion loot, get out of here. Gloves with no avoidance, get out of here. Yeah, champion level gun, get out of here. We don't need no champion level loot. We're replacing it all. We're replacing it all. And with that, we've now got a decent looking vault. We've now got a pretty decent vault. Let me check on my kitties real quick here. Well, their bowl is empty, but they seem like they're fine. For the moment. I would like to take a few more swings at trying to get into a 10. I still have the dream of a 10 in my heart. I cannot deny.
And then somebody dies, which is minus 15 seconds, right? So I think that's what that's where I'm gonna leave off on Challenger's Peril. The peril is problematic, but I don't think the peril is problematic exactly how it's been described on Reddit by most players. I think that, first off, the biggest issue is the over-design of mechanics and dungeons being just straight across the board too hard, but then the peril is a little bit excessively punishing in a lot of weird ways. I don't think you should be timing a key if you're having a full wipe, especially in specific spots. Not all wipes are made equal, not all deaths are made equal. If you have a death right after you press your cooldowns, that can cost you 30 to 45 seconds, plus the death penalty in some instances. If you have a full wipe and you have to do a run back, that no matter how long this Challenger's Peril gave you, sure, this Challenger's Peril might have given you minus 75 seconds, this could be a 2-minute run back in a lot of dungeons. So I don't think it's just as simple as, oh, the Challenger's Peril bad, Challenger Peril bad. I do think it's like too punishing for like the first couple of deaths. Like, we can relax this a little bit. It's not like this end-all be-all bad thing.
It should maybe have a cumulative effect where each death increases it by 5 seconds. So if you get a couple of deaths, it's better. But it has the snowball quality that it already has the way it's currently designed.
Last affix, the Guile. So the bargains end up getting removed and it gets replaced with the Guile. Some people were actually concerned about the Guile not allowing dungeons to feel unique enough on a per week basis on like a high key level, and they were kind of wondering if we should actually have the bargains for high keys. And having played out a little bit on the season, I'm going to double down and I'm going to say that the Guile is pretty good. I actually have been liking the Guile a lot. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I think it was incredibly overtuned at 20%, 20%. But it recently got nerfed to 10-10, and it feels like it's a lot more natural of a curve. You end up losing the the Kiss Curse affix, which, by the way, just so you're aware, if we had the option to put the Kiss Curse affix on the keys, every single high key player would be adding the Kiss Curse affixes to the key because they speed up your key such a tremendous amount. But I think that the Guile has, you know, reduce the amount of homework keys that you have to do. If you have a bunch of bad keys, say you have a bunch of necrotic wake like 12s in your bag or something like that, you just log out for the week. Like, there's no reason to play if you just have a bunch of bad keys. And the dungeons become a little bit more difficult, which is fine. But I think that this is overall a pretty good system. And so I'm here to say, I think that Blizzard's actually done a pretty good job, all things considered, with the affix system. Now, that doesn't mean that the affix system can't improve. This is what I want you guys to know, is that this is not that the affix system can't improve, but just like these blanket statements of saying, now people are complaining about the new Zao affixes, what happened, you know, is this the current state of Mythic Plus that people wanted? Kind of, right? Like, people wanted this for affixes, and I think that the affix changes have been relatively positively received. But whenever you look at like the current state of Mythic Plus, a lot of the reason that people are complaining is because the dungeons are too hard, right? And then the rewards are gated behind a specific level. The reward gating is a little bit of a different issue, but I think that the dungeons being as difficult as they currently are, and then for a lot of people, that chase being that plus 10 key level and it feeling really out of reach for a lot of players, that's the bigger issue at stake here, not the affixes. So whenever you're making criticisms of the system as a whole, I really want to like hammer this. I think that the affixes, and this is my personal opinion, are fairly solid. They can improve. I think that Oblivion is obnoxious to deal with in some specific instances. I think that, you know, Voidbound, if it spawns at the wrong time, can be really annoying, especially whenever the mob has a DR on it. You know, Devour. Everybody experienced a pug last week that didn't dispel or didn't have poison cleansing totem talent and stuff like that. Everybody has an ascendant orb that they didn't see, or it cluttered their frames and stuff like that. Everybody has complaints with the system in some capacity, but I think in general, especially whenever you go back and compare it to Raging, Bolstering, Bursting, and Sanguine, we are miles improved over that. That's it for today's video. I just wanted to rant a little bit, kind of talk about the affixes, because this Reddit post kind of was like, all right, hold on. Please God, don't send me back, because I just, dude, if you had to send me back and we had Sanguine or Bolstering or any of these other affixes in any of these dungeons, it would just be the worst possible situation ever, and it would suck. And I'm so thankful that we don't have it. And that's going to be the end of today's video. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Tettles. That was a good one, though. I really hate that now YouTube is serving me only 6 thumbos per page. It's really bad. Like, look at this shit. The recs are the same, pretty much, but the thumbos are fucking awful. And I wanted to watch this boy video because it goes into the video we watched last night, some behind the scenes stuff. But I do need to get some more drinks. And I do think I hear my babies scritching at my door. So I think another kitty break is in order. I think we've got another kitty break in order. Let's say hi to some babies. Let's say hi to some sweet babies. was so upset. He was so disquieted. Boy. It's okay, sir. It's okay, my boy. It's okay, sir. I know you're going through it like that, sir. It's probably not obvious on the camera, but like I can tell when my boy is a little keyed out. When my boy is a little distressed. See, he tries to nibble on my fingers. I think it reminds him of his mama's nipple. It's like he's trying to suck his thumb, but it's my thumb he's trying to suck with his toothy mouth. He only gets like that when he's like really stressed out. It's okay, sir. It's okay, sir. Oh, Porthos. Were you the one scratching at my door? You're almost in frame. You're almost in frame. Hey, now you keep those pistols holstered. I'm tough, but your claws are getting pretty sharp. My boy. My sweet boy. You got me all covered in stuff. There's your sisters. What, were you just instructed to hold the door? Is that what you were doing? Holding the door? Did you assign Porthos to your guard duty, Athos? Usually Athos is the one that stands watch. Tonight the thunder came before the lightning. Did you have Porthos watch the door for you? So you could go have some fun? I don't often wear this shirt anymore because of the cat hair. But everything else is in the wash. You've been missing me, little lady? And we can all hear Aramis. Aramis is very good at communicating her feelings. There's D'Artagnan. We were waiting for you, little prince. How you babies doing, huh? Look at D'Artagnan back there. That's the perfect spot for a baby to hang out in. It puts them right in frame. That's the perfect spot for a wee baby. If she'd only stay there. Are you going to stay there, or are you going to venture into being naughty? You're going to venture into being naughty, huh? Oh, and you too, Athos? I'm surrounded by naughty little babies trying to get where they shouldn't. Was this your plan the whole time? What are you doing, D'Artagnan? Is this your new plan to try and sneak onto my desk? It's not working, is it? Oh, no, D'Artagnan, no. No. Oh, little honey. Oh, little honey. Always sticking your nose where it shouldn't be. My brave little warrior. Get on my desk, but you can look. You can look, but you can't go. Can you be good? Can you be good? My little D'Artagnan, my sweet angel, my little troublemaker. You can have your turn. This is the whining you may have been hearing. This is the little nerd. My stinky baby. Right, you were screaming a minute ago. You got nothing to say now? You got nothing to say now? I mean, you were screaming just a minute ago. You got nothing to say? You got nothing to say? Even though you were screaming? You got nothing to say, huh? Even though you were screaming? And you're a little stinky? You know, whereas your sister, D'Artagnan, always smells like cinnamon rolls or hot cross buns. You smell like a little dumpster. Can you explain yourself, Aramis? Can you explain yourself? The weather is finally starting to turn. It is getting colder. We might have to try and find a way D'Artagnan again. I got you. I got you. Okay, you're not supposed to be doing that. And neither are you. Little troublemakers. D'Artagnan, you've been a terrible influence on your sister. She used to be so well behaved. But now, just like you, she acts out for attention. She learned that from watching you. She learned that from watching you. She learned that from watching you. What, you think I'll let you do what I didn't let her do? What, you think you can just be there bold as brass? You think you can just go marching up to my desk bold as brass? And I'll let you get away with it? You see the cheek on her? You see what she just tried to do? She was like, oh, he's not letting Yeremi do it, but he'll let me. I'm D'Artagnan. No. You guys prove you can't be trusted on my desk, so we have to enforce a no kitties on the desk policy. But I bet you're pretty hungry, right? I bet you want some food. You can get you some food. Oh, my little baby. Aramis is such a little cuddle bug. She is such a sweet little cuddle bug. Is that the end of the mix? Why, it is. So let's restart the mix. How about the remix? That's insane. She literally just left my lap of her own volition. And now she's shrieking again. You gonna answer for that behavior? How you just were purring in my lap and having a great time? And then you voluntarily got up and got down and started screaming? Are you gonna answer for that behavior? Are you gonna answer for that behavior? I don't think you are. I think you're gonna get food regardless. But I love you. Let's get these crybabies some food. Christmas gooses. All right. A bit of a more robust break than I anticipated, but I had to leverage the food distracting the kitties to do a few things. And there'll be more to do after the stream ends. I am considering ending it around midnight or so tonight, just because I stayed up way too late last night, and I felt it when I woke up in the morning, as I will have to do again tomorrow. Indeed, the owner was in the building today, so that was a stressful situation to walk into. Anyway. But I do definitely want to try and get in a 10. And so we're going to try that. We're going to try again to find our way into a 10. We're going to see if anyone will have me. I just did a Dawnbreaker on a 9. I'm prepped and ready for a 10. Necrotic Wake, sure. Sign my ass up. Yeah, I'll even do a 10 City of Threads. I'll go from 0 to hero on that. I'd do a 10 Mists. Absolutely. I'll be your second marksmanship hunter. I'll do a 10 Siege. Absolutely. I'll do a 10 Stone Vault. No qualms about that. Like, I feel like the score system used to be a little bit more baroque, but my impression of it now is that it's pretty straightforward. If you want 2,500, you need 10s in all the dungeons. If you can get an 11, or God forbid, a 12 in, well, then you can abide a few 9s. But just on the math that I'm seeing, just based on the numbers that I'm crunching, if I want to get to Keystone Hero, We've got to get 10s across the board. That's how it's going to work. So we got to start applying for 10s. We got to start trying to get into 10s. Yeah, I'll do a 10 Grim Batal with Oceanic Ping. I don't give a fuck. Fuck me up. See how the babies like that food. Oh my god, they hoovered that food up. Good thing I'm planning to feed them again in about an hour. 10 Siege of Borealis sounds good. $11 mists, sure. I'll sign up for that. I'm a real freak. A bunch of declines. Declining me? That's mean. I clearly have some measure of skill. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the rating I have. Something I was also curious about, though, this Majority Report coverage of Ezra Klein doing a version of my haircut, by the way, kind of fucked up, dude. Specifically because Hasanabi commented that he thinks that Ezra Klein's on the verge of an anti-Zionist turn. He feels like Ezra is the most susceptible of big mainstream media figures that is likely to come around on the subject of the media's complete fealty to the state of Israel. So I'm really curious.
Ta-Nehisi Coates has been all over the press promoting his new book, The Message, which Matt is going to review for Left Reckoning, so you guys should definitely check that out. But it's just been really, honestly, excellent and a breath of fresh air to have a writer with this amount of capital with liberals and with people who maybe, you know, liberal Zionists or folks that were unwilling to really even engage in the topic of Israel-Palestine because, oh, it's so complicated. I mean, Coates is just basically saying it's not complicated. It's really not. And he explains what he saw there, and he puts it within a context that makes sense for American liberals. Racial segregation, Jim Crow. And this is what I honestly, and I'm seeing on CNN, they're having these doctors on after that New York Times piece with bullets in their head. The cracks are starting, and there's more coverage of the genocide in Gaza, even though it's not being talked about in those terms, than there was even 2 months ago. And I credit Ta-Nehisi Coates for his bravery on this and for bringing this to the forefront by going all over the, you know, on a bunch of mainstream shows to promote his book and talking about this very clearly. So he went on with Ezra Klein for the New York Times, and here he
Ezra Klein, founder of Vox, by the way.
kind of calls Ezra out.
So he's quite wealthy.
For his framing of people on both sides of this conflict.
Compared to most outlets, I've had a fairly wide range of opinion on Israel on the show, and on, you know, I've had everyone from right-wing
Don't suck yourself off too much hard here, Ezra. Oh my God.
Israeli commentators to actual Hamas apologists. And still, I believe that maybe with one exception of people I've had on, that if you got all the people I've had on in a room, they would solve it. And that's because it's not really representative.
Ezra, why is one group right-wing advocates, or what you just said, and the other group Hamas apologists?
What do you mean?
Like, why are they not right-wing apologists?
They're right-wing apologists.
Yeah, but that's not what you said.
Yeah, that's just not what you just said. Like, you called the Hamas folks, and I'm not saying they're not apologists.
Compared to when I say I've had right-wing Israelis on, I mean people who support Netanyahu, not people who support Ben Gvir and Smotrich. I do not put.
It's not much of a difference
Hamas
there.
Is a complicated organization. I've tried to treat it on the show as a complicated organization.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It did spend.
I mean, a lot of governments are de facto complicated organizations. The United States government, certainly the most complicated organization on earth.
Many, many years, specifically targeting killing civilians. I take that as
Which Israel would never do, or
different.
You said you're different than Netanyahu.
I take that as different than Netanyahu, yeah. Certainly the military wing there. Do you not? Like, what did you think of October 7th?
Jesus.
Oh, I thought it was horrific. I thought it was absolutely horrific. I mean, one of the things I just said in the earlier question was I've spent a long time sort of grappling with the idea of nonviolence. And
I just want to, like, the thing he said there about they
this is the guy that Hasanabi thinks is coming around, huh?
spent a lot of time focusing on civilians. Now, don't get into like the sort of was synchronatic or whatever, the lack of I can't think of the word. Where it's both sides on the
asymmetry.
same, lack of
Asymmetry
balance
is the word you want.
here. Go ahead, Brandon. You were gonna say something.
No, finish your thought.
I lost my train of thought trying to think of that word.
Lack of symbiotic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
My point
I will
was,
say.
I think.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, Matt, we were trying to pass to Brandon. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I'm just too polite.
Been
The
there,
audio
you
was
asshole.
delayed for me, so I didn't hear that till after. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I
Oh
will
my
say I
God.
think Ezra Klein stumbling there when confronted with his imprecise, we'll say, framing of the two sides of the debate as like, legitimate far right advocates versus like Hamas apologists, and then being confronted and stumbling is just an example of how oftentimes when our media and various
Because let's face it, Benjamin Netanyahu's body count is now much higher than Yahya Sinwar's ever was. And that includes way more children, way more women. It's just way more bodies. So even the biggest Hamas apologist has nothing on some of these right-wing Israelis.
media is not necessarily the Israeli media, but lots of medias in the West, when they're trying to justify atrocities at home and abroad, they just provide a series of like contexts for that violence that paints the person who is the victim as deserving of it without ever coming out and explicitly saying that they deserve the violence against them. And this is a big part of why Ta-Nehisi Coates' appearances has disrupted that, because he goes the next step and says that despite what you might think about the context under which the violence is happening under October 7th, the history of Palestinian violence against or rocket attacks against Israel, none of those things justify ethnic cleansing. None of those things justify genocide. None of those things justify the concentration camps that Israel is running, like Sede Taman. None of those things are justified by this context that you're providing. And they don't necessarily want to come out there and stick their neck. Ezra Klein doesn't, a few of these more liberal leaning pundits, they don't want to come out there and stick their neck and say, yes, it does. Like some people will say, yes, it does. Some people like Donald Trump will say, yes, it does. But when you're trying to justify atrocities to, a more center right, center left audience, you just provide these, this cop shot a black person. And let me tell you about the crime statistics in this city. And let me tell you about all these things that happen in the area that might lead to you believing that this is justified. But I'll never come out and say it's justified. And Ta-Nehisi Coates has now started to press people on what they think this context actually means for the ongoing genocide and the previous genocides, and they're stumbling over that because they know it doesn't, at least to them, that coming out and saying that it justifies what we're seeing is just, it's improper, it's not right, and it's not something that they can say or advocate for directly. They've just been taught to dance around it in a certain way.
And you see here how that the language, it's not just really like when you hear on cable news the active language about Hamas slaughter and intentional targeting of civilians, and 9 Palestinians died under fire, or a tragedy and humanitarian crisis in Gaza. You see that, yes, for many of these mainstream anchors, these are just like guideposts that corporate media provides for them.
Yeah.
But for liberal Zionists, like I would imagine it seems like Klein is, it's actually something that they inherently have just absorbed. The idea that Israel is kind of just moral and good by its very nature. And so civilian deaths, I mean, he basically says he doesn't think it's the same thing. Though Netanyahu and Hamas, actually, you're right, it's not the same thing. In terms of the death toll and in terms of the intentional targeting of civilians, Hamas, it was 800 that were civilians that were killed on October 7th, and the rest were combatants. Israel has now, according to a few weeks ago,
fucking drag their ass, Emma.
Wipe your ass with them.
My fucking queen, dude.
99 healthcare workers who were American who returned to the United States. They say at minimum Israel has killed 118,000 Palestinians in Gaza, and that is likely an undercount. Right. They did in October 7th on one day in Lebanon, and no one cared. No one cared. Yep. And so it really is just so revealing that Klein can't even conceive of the fact that he just made a pretty racist statement. And
backfilling it. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, Bender, but the word I was looking for was asymmetry. And the way he says time spent targeting civilians, never mind the.
Didn't I fucking say it? Didn't I fucking say it?
Got your ass! Woo!
Got your ass, Matt. Like
asymmetry of what it means when you're like confined within a certain space and completely dominated. But yeah, like you could say that instead of the raw number of civilians killed, or even the percentage of civilians to combatants killed within it. And Israel is the greater killer of civilians. So what you see is how the term terrorism is used in a colonial structure to justify a certain kind of violence and not others.
I don't think we're getting a 10 tonight. So I say we walk it down to something that we can easily crush, and we'll take the W, whatever that
you
W
recall,
is.
I mean, I
In
still
fact,
see it every now and then, but not too long ago, one of the
try
main
Grim
talking
Batal
points you would
again.
see from the pro-Israel crowd is that like
Let's try Grim Batal one
the
last
equivalent
time.
of 30,000 Americans died or something. And like trying to also another thing they would say was compare it to the number of 9/11s.
Right.
And then
Oh God.
it's insane because they know that when you look at the raw numbers of people who actually have been killed, there is no one who's been more successful in killing civilians than Israel.
Yep.
Yes.
It's not even close.
It's exactly
And-
right, Binder, and that's also why we haven't had an official updated tally since what? It's like 42,000. It's been stuck on that for.
Yo, has Emma been watching my stream? What the hell? Emma. I love the takes because they're
for
my
6 months.
takes.
Like, you know
Since
why that is?
January, at least it feels like.
It's exactly what you're saying. This was the deliberate strategy by Israel, and it's frustrating to me that people aren't getting like hip to this yet. They destroyed the entirety of civil infrastructure. They killed all the record keepers and the ability to keep records, so they can rely on the mythology of them as the most moral actor ever. And you have liberal Zionists like Klein who inherently believe it, and they're not going to know the true death totals until at the end, when we can get some like people in there to investigate, and by then it will be too late. So at minimum we have 118,000 dead at minimum.
I mean, listening to that clip from Ezra Klein's podcast, to me, the most like amazing thing was just how Ezra Klein, the silence, like he seemed legitimately taken back at Ta-Nehisi Coates calling him out for his wording. And I don't think that wording is like something he deliberately wrote down to like poke at Ta-Nehisi Coates or anything. I think it's just autopilot at this point for these guys to just automatically just, oh yeah, I'm talking to someone who's a pro-Palestine Hamas apologist. I'm talking to someone who's pro-Israel, and they're really supportive of Netanyahu. Oh, right-wing figure in Israel. I mean, it's just automatic. And when Ta-Nehisi Coates called him out for that, he was legitimately, from just the silence and his stuttering, shocked that like, oh, what do I do here? What do I do here? Because he still has to, obviously, he's not gonna outright admit that he just got called out. He still has to figure something out to say to cover his tracks, and he tries to by jumping to. So what did you think about October 7th then, huh, Ta-Nehisi? Like that was another moment.
Yeah.
After drawing the distinction between the Smotrich and Netanyahu, which like, who is here for that at this point? Like,
Yeah, I mean, and you're like Binder, you're exactly right that he stuttered and got nervous and moved on to try and that was him trying to go on the offense to paint Coates as like,
which is a alt-right technique outlined in the alt-right playbook. Never play defense. The instant it starts looking like you got to be defensive, you go on the offensive.
the extremist terrorist apologist, because he got so uncomfortable by being called out by his reflexive, seriously, racism. And liberal Zionists don't like to think of themselves that way.
It's racism.
Like the equivalent of what he said for like Americans is if like you came across a Trump supporter and they were going on and on about how they're going to deport all the immigrants, and you said to them, oh, so you like Stephen Miller? And he was like, whoa, not that guy. I just really love Trump. I mean, that's the equivalent. That's the equivalent.
100%. All right, let's get a. Is there any more of that?
No, I think that's probably as much, because I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates has already said what he thinks about October 7th, which is that it's horrible and also not the start of history.
Yes.
Which is all that really needs to be said about it.
All right. Well, Dan from Columbus, I have to keep reminding myself that y'all talking about Ezra now, not Ethan, because I go to the same last name. Yes.
Same initials.
Jared, sorry.
Same initials too.
Oh yeah. That's
EK.
true. Bobby Nafo, Israel's making legal justice for the perpetrators of the October 7th massacre impossible. It doesn't want to involve international law in the process at all. Right. Fart Twain, I really want to read the message on my flights back home a week ago. I couldn't find a single copy in Boston Logan or SeaTac. I think, I haven't checked the charts, but I'd imagine his book is selling very well.
I mean, the
Emma
fact that
Vigil-
these guys are all inviting him on the podcast, their podcast and shows to say these things. I mean, they don't do that because they want to spread the idea that maybe Palestinians have had it a little rougher than the media has wanted you to think. No, they want to get a piece of that action that his book is selling, and everyone wants to talk about Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's a hot commodity right now. That's why they're talking to him. They want the views. They want the attention. But
Yeah, I mean,
good.
also,
give it
he's
to them if it means you speak to their audience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's also on that circuit. He has been for a decade now. The real question is, will he get invited back places? Like after he's come on and proved that like these kinds of provocations from the likes of Ezra Klein, from the likes of any of the number of like liberals or center left pundits are things that he's going to push back on the same way each time. And each of them will not have a response to it if he gets invited back to those shows, because, you know, a lot of people get like excommunicated from that circle for things like this.
Bullprog says, FYI, Hassan has been doing worse than apologia for groups like Hezbollah and Houthis in his reaction to Zionism. I mean, I don't know what he said, but I really don't care. To be honest, I find the like safe, cozy, rich white people in America picking apart the ideology of resistance groups.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing to me that makes me want to like scream more. It's the height of privilege, and it's just such Western chauvinism. So I support Hassan.
I do like how Emma just immediately sticks up for Hassan here, even without the context, because the context is Hassan spoke to a young Yemeni guy that everyone that is racist is calling a Houthi. He even asked him, "Are you a Houthi?" And the kid said no. He's just a kid that has the unfortunate spawn location of spawning in Yemen. And immediately everybody just calls him a terrorist because he lives in a country that we destroyed.
On 100%. I think it's great.
And you might say, "Oh, we didn't destroy Yemen, Deacons. It was Saudi Arabia." Who gave Saudi Arabia the weapons? Who did they buy them from? Where were the bombs made? Who provided the naval support? Like, come on now. Come on.
Great that he had that Houthi kid on back in
Absolutely.
the day. And we should be understanding more why Houthis, Hezbollah, all of these folks are resisting.
Yes, I 100%.
That would be
And
good.
honestly, I'm like, that's what Klein is like. What he was saying there too, Ezra Klein. Like this, just like
not Ethan
reflexive
Klein.
Characterization of Palestine.
It'd be funny if Emma just brought up Ethan Klein out of nowhere as well. That would be actually pretty funny.
Palestinians or Arabs as just savages is disgusting. And it's widespread and shared on the Democratic and Republican side. And liberal Zionists are going to have to confront their own racism. They're unwilling to. You saw that in the Ezra Klein clip. But these are resistance groups. And picking apart what they believe, I mean, it's just, it's.
Yeah, I like the idea of finishing up tonight in a Grim Batal. Hopefully timing it, hopefully getting some crests, hopefully getting my best trinket. It won't quite be Keystone Hero. It seems that just because I can easily get into 8s and 9s does not mean I can easily get into 10s. But we're in spitting distance, and it'll make farming up crests super simple as well.
As if it hasn't been
Also-
massively influenced by the colonial,
Yes.
divide and
We
conquer
propped
strategy.
up religious fundamentalist groups in the region for that very reason, so it could make it easier for people. And look, I love Bullprog. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on you, but it's just like
But this is frustrating, and
I disagree with the criticism of Hassan very strongly on
and the
this front.
smearing of people on this front as
Yeah.
terrorist sympathetic as opposed to just fucking mature. I'm sorry, I love Bullpuck too, but like this sort of thing that's going around, especially when fucking supporters of Israel want to talk about policing other people's ideology, nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also think, you know,
Mainstream media
big
has been,
W for the
interviewing
majority
literal,
crew
like,
here.
terrorist groups for decades, because that's what journalism is. You talk to all sides to understand the complete story, and then you report it. It doesn't mean you're supportive of everything or anything they do, but that's what you do. And I mean, the only thing I think of is that Hassan interviewed that young Houthi guy.
I
That's
don't
all.
think
I
he was technically even Houthi, but like
He's
young
not even
Yemeni,
Houthi.
pirate sort of chap. And people
right.
wanted him. I think because of the Asman Gold thing, which I also didn't follow, people thought, well, let's go back and ban Hassan for that. And I would just say, whoever's at Twitch making that decision not to take action against Hassan, great job. A real that's how it should be worked, as the employees that know better and make these decisions. But yeah, it's horrible.
I also just think, just one last thing, that a lot of times this position that it's apologia is just, for me, an example of how the West is always looking to justify its own atrocities, because what it's oftentimes called apologia are just like the cause and effect of why things happened, like the actual context for why these groups exist and what they're doing, and not a justification for that, but it's automatically taken as a justification for it.
Yep.
Because when you provide context for, like, when this kind of context is provided for Western atrocities, like I said earlier, it's usually meant to absolve them of it. It's usually meant to go like, oh, you see, well, yeah, we killed all of the Native Americans here, using smallpox blankets, but it was for X, Y, and Z reason, to establish like a Western democracy, for, to be a shining city on a hill. And I won't say it's good, but I'll just provide that context and let you determine whether or not you think it's
you
good or
decide
not,
if it
and
was a
build
righteous
strong case
murder
that
or
it is.
not.
And so when you provide context for, why people don't like the West, why people might do 9/11, why people might do an October 7th, what are the actual historical and material conditions that led to these things, people see it also like, oh, you're in favor of it. Because when they do it about the U.S., even if they say sometimes ostensibly that they're not, they are they are trying to justify what the U.S. is. They are trying to justify what Israel is doing. And so, they assume everyone is doing that back to them. It's just projection.
Vinny P, I listened to the whole interview. Ezra was fronting like he was sympathetic to Coates' point of view for most of it, and then he drops that disgusting framing on that question. Yes, that's 100% true.
Interesting.
I'm sure he thinks he's.
Oh, go ahead, Brennan.
I'm sure he thinks he's sympathetic. I'm
Yeah,
sure
yes.
a lot of people think they're sympathetic on the issue, but they've learned how to distance that sympathy. Again, in a very American tradition, to distance that sympathy from a call for change.
Right. I mean, oddly, Hunger Games was on TV the other day, and I was
The
watching
callousness
that,
of empire.
and the almost like the spectacle of the freaking, again, it's a young adult novel, so sorry if it's a rudimentary reference, but the crying in the Capitol as the kids die in the freaking game that the totalitarian government is putting on, they can feel sympathy for it, or say oh, this is so sad as I observe this, but there's nothing that it doesn't motivate their actions or change anything about their perspective beyond that.
It's performative. It's performative sympathy, not in the sense that
Sympathy, not empathy.
not in the sense that.
Yeah.
Well, I never know the difference, but I just mean it's performative in the sense that it's something that its value is in and of itself, as opposed to it being fake. I don't know if he actually feels sympathy, but that sympathy is meant to, signal a certain level of liberalness, or signal the fact that he has the capacity to feel bad for oppressive or the oppressed people, but it's not meant to actually move any material reality.
Right.
A lot of it's honestly just straight up people are brainwashed. They were raised a certain way and were taught these things in a certain way. Well, I think that's also an under discussed thing about how young people view this. A lot of young people who have been active and vocal about this, it's not so much obviously social media and getting news from independent outlets and having that access is a huge part of it, but also the issue was as compared to previous years and decades, the Israel-Palestine conflicts and everything involving the West Bank and Gaza and the land and Israel's occupation, that before October 7th, it's been obviously there were some events that happened, but it was in the mainstream media and talked about in like school and education wise, it was pretty quiet comparatively to the years before. And I think that's a huge thing that like the young people didn't have this being like shoved down their throats, steal a right-wing favorite phrase, that like, oh, Israel is the run in the right here.
They're
Israel
shoving
is
it
the
down
moral
our
one here.
throats,
Israel
brother.
they didn't do anything wrong, and they didn't have that. And they saw what happened on October 7th. They understood what the situation was after that from seeing the media and what Israel's response was, and they quickly realized without having that brainwashed period, having that blank slate that, what happened on October 7th was wrong. What Israel is doing is wrong.
Yeah. Exactly right. JR in Philly
Did we not?
says exactly what we were saying. Hezbollah and
Hero
Hamas are
there?
resistance organizations.
got a
They provide
shaman in the
services
group.
in
I
the face
figured
of
he'd be
colonial
hero.
oppression. Hezbollah.
At the appropriate time.
I'm sorry. Hezbollah is a major political party in Lebanon.
Maybe
they
we're
have
heroing on
civil
the giant.
infrastructure. They
I'm fine
have
with that.
non-combatants. They have combatants. They have politicians. But when you call someone just a blanket terrorist, it doesn't. You don't have to think critically about the fact that it's not just the West that has like, governmental structures. I understand that Lebanon's basically like a failed state at this point, and the government hasn't.
I'm sure Israel has nothing to do with that.
Right. That's the point. That's the point. And then, but that's exactly right, because then when it fails because of Western slaughter and influence, then you get people to go around and say like, see, they're savages, they're terrorists, they can't get their shit together. It fulfills the narrative that they want.
Well, also terrorists, like Matt was saying too, and it's become worse, especially under the Obama drone regime, has always just been a construct in asymmetrical warfare to paint the,
I like that,
the
the
armies,
Obama
the resistance
drone
fighters,
regime.
whatever the case happens to be, the resist group happens to be at the time, as something outside of the Western paradigm, and therefore, not subject to the same restraint that, enemy combatants in a European war might be subject to. Like, you might be required to, like, I don't know, I just saw Napoleon, so like, hey, you're not supposed to shoot the general because like he's like a nobleman or something. Like, little gestures of respect in warfare that Europeans imagine that they have been engaging with, and it's just not been true, obviously, in most cases. You're no longer, they're not privy to that. And especially in drone warfare regime that Obama labeled everyone who happened to fit a certain demographic as a terrorist, that was just a manner by which we might sweep civilian casualties under the rug. And like, in that war and in future
and even kill American citizens.
Because, people will reference previous
extrajudiciously
has been in the civilian to combatant rate and the death rate, and talk about Israel's genocide in that context. But a lot of those numbers are skewed based on statistics that were entirely made up by our administration to look less bad, in the face of like, hey, the West as a barbaric regime.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and the word terrorist creates an entirely opposite impression in the people than what, say, a graph showing casualties for years going back would.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
They especially take phone calls on Fridays. If anyone wants to call in. I do like that he does that kind of like call-in drive time radio thing. That's pretty cool. Anyway.
We walked in, and do you remember what day it appeared?
This is behind the scenes, BTS, for the Boy video we watched yesterday.
Oh, that was so bad. It was like bring your kid to work day.
It was bring your kid to work day at Chevron.
Oh, no.
Hello. Oh,
hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, boy.
And this is
Alexa.
And we are
Make Chevron pay. I keep saying that. Yeah.
Alex and Alexa.
Video Alexa.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot recently.
It's good. I like it, but it's also a bit scary. You know.
Yeah, I might become a
No,
president.
no, I get scared when you look at the camera and you tell me to do something. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, sick. Does it make
Like-
you want to do something?
Run
A little bit. Makes me want to donate all of our money to Chevron. Thank you, everyone that's saying they like the new video.
Guess how much we raised in the first like 8 hours?
Crazy.
Let's see if they can guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
we got $4. We've got $200,000. So wild answers.
it was 100,000
US.
in the first 8 hours.
Crazy.
So when we did the David Wright video,
USD.
and he was like crying. He was
USD's
like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you
nuts.
could raise $90,000 Australian." We were like, "This is the biggest thing we've ever done. This is crazy."
It's
Like,
unfortunate.
didn't know
I
we
did
could do
my
this.
best
and then we
to
faked
try
this
and make
video,
sure
you,
it was
like, fucking
pointed in the correct
surpassed
direction.
That within the first couple of hours.
It's such a nice power to have, to be like, here's someone that has done something really good and is getting fucked, and we're like, it's like us saying, hey, would you just like $100,000?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so good.
Obviously, it comes from you guys,
Yeah,
but
but it's mainly us, isn't it? No, it's 100% you guys. It's so
Wouldn't be
crazy.
possible without the
It's
Boy
just
Boy
amazing that, like,
platform. The
there's so many
platform
people
of
in
the Boy
audience who,
Boy.
like,
yeah.
who give money to good causes, like, you know.
And it was crazy because at the time, $100,000, it had like 250. Thank you, Amber, for the 5 gifted
We're
subs.
cruising right along, but
crazy
it's an
'cause
8.
was-
It shouldn't be
the video
that
had, like,
hard.
250,000 views.
A good little
100,000.
cool
It
down
was almost
key
like
for the
every
night.
third person gave $1. So anyone saying, "Oh, I feel bad, I can only give a small amount," giving
Dude,
$1 is fine.
giving
Giving 50
$1
cents is fine. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Literally anything.
Yeah. I just think, wish Alexa we were using this power to just. We should do what other YouTubers do and just make ourselves rich.
Gruntle.
That's
Can we do that?
Yes, you can do that.
Can we do that?
Scheme be get them to buy our crypto coin.
Get you to buy a crypto coin or something. So
AOE incoming.
that's what
I
we're doing
wouldn't-
next.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind $100,000 right about now.
Yeah, neither.
Imagine, that'd be
Stephen,
cool.
though, he definitely deserves it more.
I guess.
Make an MRE? I don't think an MRE is a good idea
What's
for
an MRE?
merch. A military ration kit. They're the things
It
they
might be
all
a different thing.
is that what an MRE is? Am I an idiot? Raise money for Chevron to make more content. Yeah, pay them to do more natural disasters.
How about this? Go to Chevron and be like, look, we've made this video. All this horrible stuff has happened. You know, people have raised all this money for Steven. We're going to make a video, come out and say we were wrong. How much will you pay us for the we were wrong video?
Yes.
Because that would be so much money. They paid fucking what? 50, what was it? How many? $1 million to that guy just to say something
Just
in
to
court
lie.
to like 10 people.
Oh, it's so good. If you're on the right side of oil, how much money you make.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Make a meal kit that just comes with half a fish and a bit of metal. Is Alexa's contribution half the fish and mine the metal? Is that what it is?
Oh, that's cute.
Boy Fish, I was actually on a Zoom call with Stephen about a year ago. He was an honorary guest speaker for a CPUSA conference. He's a wonderful person. Yeah, he's a
He's
great
so
guy.
nice.
He's also just really like happy. Like after we met him for like 2 hours, and at the end of it, he was like, when we're going, he's like, "I love you guys." I was like, I have never told someone I love someone that soon into meeting them unless I was on drugs, you know?
I mean,
Like-
he was so, yeah. He was
Which you
very
should
chill
never,
about, like,
ever
the mood that
do.
He was in.
yeah.
It kind of felt like he was going through it all in third person.
Yeah.
Because if you'd ask me, like, what about the thing? He's like, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like,
Yeah, that shit's
$60
fucking
billion.
crazy, bro.
They sued me the most anyone's ever been sued. It's just
What's
crazy.
your step?
And it's just like, it doesn't sound like it's actually happy to him personally. It sounds like he's talking about it happening to someone else.
I think that's the only way to deal with being sued that amount. Because I think if someone
That's
sued me for
unreal.
that amount, I would have to disappear. I'd be like,
Oh, you can fake your own death.
Well, that's it for me.
I'm going out into the bush
Come to
or
Serbia.
something. Is that where everyone
Which
fakes
is definitely not where I'm going when I fake my death. I'm going to Eswatini.
Good pick.
Don't check Serbia.
Very-
It's not there.
Not in Serbia.
Don't check
Serbia is a
Serbia.
bit like hell, isn't it?
Who said that?
No.
Just you?
That's me. Like you were saying, fake your death. It's like you died, and when you could die, you go to Serbia.
That's not true. That's so
I
mean.
don't think so.
People live there.
My dad used to work
People
for
live
Chevron
there.
Australia on the Gorgon project.
Oh, cool.
What's the Gorgon?
It's off Western Australia. It's like a offshore gas.
Is that the thing
project.
that's fucking the Ningaloo? Oh yeah.
It's on an island in Western Australia, and the entire island's full of gas.
Wow.
It's a big island of farts.
Yeah,
but
it
they
was-
do really crazy stuff there. It's so annoying. They do this offshore like
Oh,
drilling,
we've got
mining,
some
whatever.
trepidation here, it seems.
Off the coast of Australia, and then they don't want it anymore. They're done with the oil, And they do this insane thing where, because like you have to get rid of it, which and clean it up, which costs a lot of money.
Watch your step.
So instead, they make this like shell company that buys it off them for a really cheap price, and then that company disappears.
That's awesome.
And then you just got the thing like thrown out there, but it's not your problem because
You
you're
didn't
not
do
the
it.
one.
You
Yeah.
sold it to someone else.
Someone else who was a version of you that doesn't exist anymore.
That's a good idea.
It's so fucking. They're so good at it. Got that info from who's the Aussie guy? Punters Politics.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Interesting.
We should
guy.
do a stream with him. That'd be fun.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. It was funny.
I should stream with you.
Someone mentioned with me.
Yeah.
I should just stream with you sometime, Alexa.
Alex, when was the first time you decided you wanted to build things? A machine.
You're actually asking me questions.
You're on my stream.
Do you know we've been friends for 25 years? You've never asked me this.
Not a single question.
We've been friends for 35 years. You've never asked me this.
Watch your step.
I'm not telling you.
We've been
is my
friends for
answer.
55
I
years.
speak Spanish. Suspicious.
Watch your step.
What? I speak English right now.
I do love it that when Alexa speaks Spanish in a video, he's always like, "This is going to be the most beautiful pronunciation you've ever heard." Clap, 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 clap.
It is embarrassing. I hate. It's just so hard because it's like you've got the name and you know how it's meant to be pronounced, and you're like, do I try to pronounce it differently so it sounds like English, or do I pronounce it the way it's pronounced? And so like it's annoying 'cause when you pronounce the way it's pronounced, it sounds like you're putting more effort into it, but it's the opposite. You put more effort into changing it.
No.
Yeah, it's true.
No.
It's really annoying, but you know what it sounds like. You know that you're like that. You sound like a douchebag.
Were the flamenco shoes necessary when you were doing all this?
Yes.
Yeah, all of it was necessary.
You obviously.
Alex, it's 2024 and you haven't built a railgun yet. What's wrong? A lot.
The
is
laws
wrong.
in Australia.
Yeah. That's literally one of the first ideas I ever wrote down on my document
Wow, we
of
didn't-
ideas was railgun.
that's unfortunate.
But I'm going to do something similar soon to a railgun. Not similar to a railgun, but I'm planning to do something with a jet engine, which was also
Yeah,
one of my
it's,
first
it's
ever
definitely
ideas.
legally
But, so I
distinct
found it
from
funny,
a
someone in chat
railgun.
Before said they mentioned their
If
their parents,
the
their
Australian
dad worked at
FBI
Chevron.
is
What was
listening,
really
it's
funny that we
definitely
didn't include in the video
different.
was when we went to Chevron, covered in oil. We walked in, and do you remember what day it appeared to be at Chevron?
Oh, that was so bad. It was like bring your kid to work.
It
day.
was bring your kid to work day at Chevron. So there
missed
were
that guy.
so many people with like a little kid, and then like when we were covered in oil, like I remember this one kid walked by and he just like looked at us confused and was like, "Oh, this is what my dad's work is like."
Well, I was so annoyed when we cottoned on that it was bring your kid to work day because it's like everything fucked up with this video. Like I got the wrong address. I didn't know where we were going. We had covered ourselves in castor oil, which is like so hard to wash out. You feel like shit. You're so sticky. It's in your eyes and your vision's blurry.
Yeah.
And then we're in the wrong place. Like fuck. Do we just keep going, try to make something else out of it? We decided to go there. Then when it's bring your kid to work day, we're just like you can't film kids.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to film kids. So it's just like these are little like landmines have been put in the Chevron headquarters that you can't film there now because they got kids everywhere. It's just like what else could go wrong today?
It's so funny. Someone said, "How did you not slip?" We thought of all of this. So what we actually wanted to happen was we were hoping the security was going to be rough. We wanted a scene where, you know, we were refusing to leave. They were trying to get us to leave.
Yeah. But we're too slippery.
And we're too slippery, so they can't catch us.
Yeah.
But I think the security was like, as soon as they saw us, they were like, "We're not touching these boys. We're just going to call the police."
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
the thing. They would all stand like
That's a shame.
2 meters away from us and just kind of like try to direct us. And we're like, okay, well, we're not going to leave. Then.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're calling the police. Like, fuck. Because we were speaking to our lawyer, and he was like,
Shadow flames
do everything you can, but you need to be out
supernova
of there by
in
time
the
police come, because, like, there
sky.
are a bunch of like kind of hectic new laws about protesting, specifically if it's like climate change related. They're coming down really hard on this.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. Like the 8 is the bare minimum threshold to get the Gilded Crests, and this group has been good, but we've done keys with much better groups in 9s, and it's like because you're in a 9, the caliber of the player is a little bit better. It's really interesting.
So we're just like, fuck, if we get in trouble for that, like we can't come to America, we can't do any of this stuff.
It wasn't climate change related. We just wanted to get a
We wanted
job.
to get a job. Yeah.
We said that in the video.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with climate change. So we wanted to get out there before the police came, but speaking to our lawyer as well, he was like, this is like a fossil fuel company.
The same
And-
lawyer as the one in the Pine Gap video? Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Davis.
Jinx.
I owe you a soda.
Thank you. How is it so cold? You ordered one?
I ordered one just for you because I knew you would jinx me. So we had to get out of there before the police would arrive. What made it great, though, was like, it was
Wow.
quite...
That's delicious. I know why Hassan does this every day. I'd love a nice, refreshing Coca-Cola.
I mean, a Coke is much tastier than a Diet Coke. You know, I don't have to tell you that.
Good there, Alexa. Yeah, so what was funny? Refreshing. Really refreshing.
Well, it's not actually that good. It hurts your fucking...
No. What was really funny was because obviously we arrived at the first place. We weren't meant.
BDS Coke. I don't drink Coke. This is a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
If you drink Coke, you're an idiot.
I don't
Damn,
mind
dude.
Coke, like with alcohol once in a while.
And also, Coke isn't on the
also why I wouldn't
BDS
like
list.
No.
This has been brought
Okay.
up with Hassan several times.
It was very funny when we arrived at the first place. We got the wrong building. The thing that saved the awkwardness was the fact that there was a bunch of Karens and old women there that were like,
Oh, what are you doing?
You spiced up my day. Oh. Very, very, very funny.
Yeah.
What?
You know what's annoying?
What?
Hassan might be watching our video right now.
He's not. He doesn't watch our videos anymore.
That's true. He hates us.
After boycotting Coke, I just buy LA Ice Cola now.
They're all shit. I don't think
Coke's
there's
not on
like
the
a good
BDS
soft drink.
list
Yes.
No, but I
as
love
well.
San Pellegrino.
It's still good to not
not
drink it, but
I
it's
like
not on the
it too, not
BDS list.
I think that the off-brand, you know, the supermarket brand colas are worse. They're less fizzy.
Sure. Yeah.
I think so. Kombucha. I don't mind kombucha.
I think it tricks you.
I think it's
Butcher,
a-
I
think
just
it's
met
a
her.
soft drink.
It's like Logan Paul being like, it's got electrolytes in it. Like, shut the fuck up. Doesn't
You're
matter.
drinking a sugary soft
Still
drink.
got sugar. It's like, you know, drinking orange juice with still as bad as soft drink.
Yeah.
Still just a sugary drink. It's like the fact that it
Yeah,
has
just drink
vitamins and
water,
all these other
dude.
things
Just
in
drink
it and
water.
electrolytes doesn't make it better. It's
You put a
just,
vitamin
You don't
in
have
a
line
Coke.
of sight? Are you fucking kidding
Still
me,
make you
bro?
sick.
yeah, exactly. Very good. Very good point.
Appropriate.
Good video today, boys. Fuck those corpos at Chevron. You had me from Chernobyl.
Yeah, we mentioned Chernobyl at the start.
Oh, yeah. We've also got another very thing, environmental related.
You can still time this, by the
Whoa.
way.
Which
Holy
is
shit.
very
Still
exciting
timeable.
because it's something that's like, even though this video was called that no one talks about, people are aware of it. Obviously,
Yeah. It might not be like talked about, you know,
As much as
as
Chernobyl.
it should be. But yeah, people are aware of it. We found a thing that no one knows about. A really fucking crazy thing that we're gonna be the first to break. It's gonna be the first kind of, I don't know, investigative journalism
yeah,
that we've done.
yeah. I'm very excited to do it. And what is the work split between you guys for Portable videos? It's probably like 19.9%.
Oh, 99.2. Come on, don't sell yourself short.
That,
yes,
that
we were saying we
almost
have an
fucked us
exciting,
right there. That was
Video which we're
scary.
going to film soon in Australia. Exploration.
We can still time this.
Fucking,
This key is still timeable.
I
And we
can't
will
give any more
time
clues
this.
'cause It's gonna reveal. too
Reveal
much.
what we're doing. But
We're talking about mass graves here.
mass graves. Yeah.
That's that. No one knows. That doesn't explain.
no.
That, yeah.
Doesn't explain.
We're uncovering.
Doesn't
a mass
narrow it
grave.
down at all.
What are you exploring? Each other's bodies? Maybe a bit
We
of
got that video too. We got to get on that.
We do have that
So
video.
what we've had set up for a while, which never really said go. We should do it now. I was waiting for a more serious video to be done. We wanted to reenact. So there's some like pages on the deep dark internet that have like our what do you call it? Fan fiction on it. Like lots of stories about us having sex, but like well written kind of narratives. And we decided to act them out.
Well written, you
So
know,
it'd be like
narratives.
we filmed our own fan fiction kind of thing.
How do we find them? Could we read them on this? No.
No. Well, we're going to read them for the video because I haven't actually read them yet.
Yeah.
We found them, didn't read them, sent them to an actual fucking porn director, and they read through it. They said this is great, and they're going to do the whole thing, produce the entire thing.
I'm just scared that it's going to really quickly devolve into just like sex.
I don't know. I don't
Because
know
we
what's in
need
there.
it, like, you need a good space of, like, maybe
No, I think there's a lot of foreplay.
60-70% of, like, weird, like, reenacting
Yeah.
something where we're turned on or something. I don't know. Did you get the author's permission? No. We should do that, shouldn't we?
Oh yeah.
How do you even contact
In my
them?
head, I thought it was like a service that we were like.
I thought it was a service.
Fucking brought to life.
Are you still doing the conversion cam video? Well, we're not
Man, fucking Christians hate us.
Yeah, they were. I think they were onto us. I think we didn't have a kind of valid, convincing enough reason to call them.
Yeah, it was weird. We called like a million places that none of the Christians wanted to convert us.
No. There's a lot of videos that happen that we start where we're like, they get put on the back burner because things are hard.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially when you're doing like real life stunts, they can go so like a million different ways.
What about the fire video? Same with the fire video. You know, that's hard to.
Wait, you know Alex/Diego for our latest vid. He never said anything about being boy adjacent. I found Alex on a Star Now. It's like a extras act. It's like an actor's.
That's awesome. You actually know him?
Yeah, he was really nice. Yeah, it was the creepiest fucking thing. I hate it. Like it's. I love having like a database of actors that you can contact, but it's so fucking creepy. Texting a random person, being like, "Hey, do you want to come into my house, take your shirt off, or film a video?" I swear I'm a YouTuber.
I swear I'm a YouTuber,
It's so
mate.
bad, and like I get so nervous.
And also, Star Now is like the only platform where like racism is encouraged. Where it's like you can literally sort the people you want by their
99%
race,
count.
and you also don't have a choice because it's like
Oof.
it does it for you.
Well,
It's like,
let's pluck
who are
this
you looking
guy's
for?
chicken.
Black guy? How old? We'll give him to you.
Do you want
Bro, hit us with the "Are you
guy
fucking
is
kidding me?"
73 years old.
Dude, you
It's
kidding
so
me, bro?
Weird, and it's like obviously
It is the only industry where you can do racism.
you can do
It's
racism,
film.
and that's how acting works. Yeah, exactly. But at least they get paid well, and we pay them
Find shelter.
well
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Often it's people turn up and film for 15 minutes and then get paid 3 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
it's
that's the
pretty
thing. You don't
pretty
waste
good
people's
deal.
time.
Worst is looking for ugly people. I have a controversial opinion. I think if you're really ugly, it's easier to get a role in a movie than being really hot.
No, but I think you're talking about percentages, right? How many really hot people and really ugly people out there? You're
Yeah,
competing
that's what-
with other really ugly people.
No, but that's what I'm
The
saying. I
same
think
as-
there's more. If you're really hot, there is a group of people on. If someone's really hot, they're immediately like, I'm a model. I'm an actor. You know,
Oh, it's
so
all
you-
really ugly, then
I'm a
like,
male
I gotta get on the
model.
screen.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's
exactly. So it's a very small proportion.
A confident person.
If you're an ugly, really ugly, confident person that you looks unique, you're gonna do amazing. Like Danny DeVito, who looks like.
Was he hot when he was younger?
I don't
No.
think so. I think it's probably. I have no idea. Why am I getting an ad for erectile dysfunction? Because you're watching us, boys. All the problems you think we got going on.
You know, I chipped. By the way, talking about wearing down teeth. In the Chevron video, I chipped my tooth on that belt grinder.
Yeah.
You guys might
real
think that's
bad.
a fake incident. It's fake in the sense that I wanted to hit my face on it for the sake of the gag, but I just got so committed that I just like.
Should we show the behind the scenes of that? Do you just have it on your computer that's easy to watch, or no?
It might be somewhere. Yeah, I could try to find it.
Well,
it doesn't look like much. Aren't you all 30? What do you mean you dripped your tooth doing a funny joke? Yeah, that is what I felt. I was just like, man, this shouldn't be happening
We're
right
too
now.
old for this. Maybe we could read. It's always
let's read
funny
some
to
comments. I
read
wanna
some
see what
comments
people are
from the
Fine
from the video
shelter.
that just came out.
So we've got a bunch I've already answered. Let's see what we got. Living in the global south, you get used to your pain/struggles. Let's personal record. Oh, I want some of that. Maybe we shouldn't read these. I want really bad.
All right, let's go get our
sourced by
1%
Oh, the
count.
algorithm. Hi, chat. Everyone's so
Let's
nice.
go get it.
Oh, hi, chat. Very funny.
Very,
I love everything you
very
do.
good.
Please give record of transactions and altruism stuff. Port of, I don't know. I seriously get it. Yeah, you want a lawyer that's fighting against you, gone. But to go so far where at the point you permanently ruin their life is insane. That amount of evil is incomprehensible. I mean, it's completely understandable if you know that there are no consequences.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Crazy.
Watching on Assange's Twitch show now. Trader, you should be watching it ours. Make like a quick video in the interoceanic oil tube they're trying to build. I mean, this stuff is really nice, the suggestions.
Yeah. There's a lot of really nice people out there. And a lot of people have really good ideas.
There are some really annoying people out there. Oh no, is that like I think that's a Nazi symbol. Getting all up and doing that had to be a rush. Oh no, maybe he's a nice guy. Maybe he's just the chaos god of fate. I think I would be able to stop a bit of wooden stuff happening, but not over sexual stuff, just because it was such a rush to do this. I know, I'm a strange dude, and I'm okay with that. Hey, though, you have a good excuse to take a shower in alcohol. I bet this guy's fucking Swedish or something.
He's German.
Am I right, man?
Thankfully now we drink from soggy paper straws and plastic cups, and European bottle caps are attached to the bottle, so we're good.
I mean, that's fine. That is true.
Okay.
They're making fun of the individualized approach to climate action.
But is he making fun of us at all for pointing out that there's something wrong with it?
No, I mean, I don't know. It could be, but I don't think so. I think like I'd say the same thing. Why is everyone nice? Imagine if a fucking millionaire watches the video.
Yeah, that's crazy. But if a millionaire watched the video, surely they would already be.
Here comes the charm.
This wouldn't be the thing that made them be like, oh, I should do something with this money I have lying around, you know? Like,
Maybe.
I can hate on you guys from chat if it'd make you happy. No, you don't have to do it. What happened to YouTube comments? I remember them being the sewer of the internet. Yeah, they can be pretty bad.
I mean, there's a lot of them
Depends
that
on
will
the
be
video.
in our like there's like a section that's like, what is it called, that they filter out because it goes against like community guidelines, and then we can go through there and actively ourselves be like, no, we want this slur on our page, we say accept. But I never really even check those. Sometimes it's fun.
Some lengths that people go to say slurs on YouTube is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
I've never written a comment on YouTube.
Really?
Outside of my professional life. I haven't done it as like a random guy. Being like,
you need not
what
logged in it?
what a beautiful Friday to be watching a video. Very nice smile.
A little daily dose of the boy. The boy. I really hate this new A/B test from YouTube. Like, this is too few videos per square inch on my screen. I didn't ask for this A/B test, you sons of bitches, you. Yeah, let's just cross off more and more from our little list here. That's pretty good. We got 5 keys done tonight. 5? 5 or 4, something like that. But pretty good. Vault's looking nice and full. No Queen Ansarek kill. That was just for the chosen few. For the chosen. I always get distracted looking at my kitties on the camera outside just to make sure they're doing okay. My sweet babies. They do make a lovely way to end the stream, to be honest. Because that's pretty much what we're about to do, I think. I think we're about to do exactly that. Because if I do another key, I'll be up too late tonight. And I am less sleepy. But I also know my babies are going to want a little snack of their own. Let's run an ad so I don't paywall the babies. And while that runs, we can do some basic alchemical maintenance. We can take care of some basic alchemical to-dos. And with that, I'm out of concentration. I really gotta get my profession sorted out. Having to use concentration just to get to rank 2 is kinda wacko crazy. Kinda not okay. Alright, good. Alchemical chores completed. Oh, I almost forgot, actually. I did my alchemy weekly, but not my herbalism weekly. We'll do that. Alright, now let us fly to our logout perch so we can unleash the babies. So we can unleash those sweet babies. Still, we're up to about 1 Mythic Plus an hour. That's a much better hit rate than we were getting. And we tanked that hit rate a little bit by trying to get into some 10s. I think if we just stuck to 9s and only did 9s, we'd probably get better caliber groups on the mean. Better quality groups. Now we're only 300 crests away. We'll lose some ground in the reset on Tuesday. You know, if we were really serious about closing this crest gap, which we kind of are, but we kind of aren't, we would just be farming out of our minds for the next 3 days. Because while I will eventually run out of my own gear to upgrade, and we're getting there. That's pretty cool. We're getting there. We'll still want to store up a huge bank because the enchanted crests for crafted gear are also something we'll have to get. For the bracers, probably a cloak. We'll have to do that too. But next week, provided my guild doesn't implode from the secret AOTC that no one was invited to. a choice quote from the guild Discord, not following any of this logic, if there is any. Interesting. But yes, next week should be the week that we officially max out on runed crests. That should be next week. And next week will also be the new patch, the 0.5 patch. And there is a part of me that does want to just farm out of my mind the next 3 days, the next 3 streams. Get as many crests as I possibly can. Finish maxing out my gear. Bank some for later, you know? How you doing? And we may yet have time for that. But as I talked about earlier on stream, I've been missing playing some of my alts, and I've been passing them woo gear or bound on equip gear. And there is a real opportunity this week specifically to get each of my alts a pretty nice little item, a hero track item from the raid. And that's because of a recent change. I'm not sure when exactly the change happened, but I'm pretty sure it didn't happen in Dragonflight. I'm pretty sure it's new. Yeah, complete 4 dungeons on heroic or mythic difficulty. That's pretty interesting, because you can just queue into those from the group finder. Easy as you please. And I do please. And I will please. Because while I've not touched my Demon Hunter in a few weeks, I have been sending him woo gear, and he is due for another dungeon dunk. And if I had to get into Mythic Zeros, that might be a problem. But if I can just quite literally dungeon finder this shit, I should be able to knock that out pretty quick. Because the heroic dungeons are not that hard. I don't have a vault on this guy, right? No. Yeah, no, I don't. But that's why we're making a little turn towards the alts. The alt extravaganza over the weekend, beginning tomorrow, Friday, the actual first day of the weekend. Let me check my mail. The actual first day of the weekend will kick off the alt extravaganza, where I will try to raise up as many of these alts as I can to get them this bit of hero track gear. And of course, I'll feel the bitter sting of getting Queen Ansurek gear on a minor alt. I'll feel those tears in my eyes, I'm sure. But we'll at least be able to touch on the other 3 members of our warband, and maybe even our warrior who's been gathering dust. Maybe even get our Devoker up and running. So yeah, we've been hitting Mythic Plus really hard for weeks now, and that was to get where we're at. Damn near 2400 rating. Damn near. Right on the cusp of Keystone Hero. A stone's throw away from our portals. We're gonna get there. But not this week. no Keystone Hero this week. Alt Stravaganza this weekend. So that's going to be the order of business for the next few days. The only remaining order of business for tonight is to grab some babies. See if some babies want to come say hi. Claws on me to catch your fall, and I felt them. I felt them. These little babies. These sweet babies. Why are you squirming? Squirming. Surely you aren't squirming because you want to get on my desk. Because you know that's not allowed. So that can't be why you're squirming. That can't be why. That can't be why. I see a kitty, Tommy. Get on my desk either. You don't get to get on my desk either. You babies have caused too much trouble on my desk. You're now banned from my desk. I'm sorry to say. You can remain in my lap, though. That's still allowed. Nope, you're breaking the rule. Can't get on my desk. That's the rule. If you try again, you'll merely be foiled again. Times, and I'll foil you a fourth. See? You can't go over there. I won't let you. Yeah, I know it's not fair. That's one of the biggest burdens about being a parent. Sometimes you have to do things that are unfair, that your kiddos don't understand. What do you mean I can't go on your desk?
just followed.
Yatanob, thank you for following as we have our final kitty break of the stream. We've been ending the streams with our kitties lately. And so I'm glad you were able to drop a follow and check out my sweet babies. I do so love showing them off on stream, but they do so love getting on my desk, and they're not allowed to, so there is a tension there. There is a robust tension there. D'Artagnan, do you want to come meet our new follower? How about you, Porthos? Are you feeling charismatic? No, you're just looking corpulent, as you often do. Hey, D'Artagnan. You're adoring little waits. Hey, D'Artagnan, you're kind of the superstar of this stream. You should come say hi to our new follower. You're kind of the diva of this stream. You know, with a name like D'Artagnan. The softest, fluffiest, bravest baby. With the loudest purr. Does that sound like someone you know? Does that sound like you? Thank you for the follow, Yatnob. Very kind of you. And of course, these babies know that usually when the stream ends, feeding time begins. So they're likely anticipating a little bit of a windfall in the form of food. That is very likely what they are anticipating. No, honey, you can't get on my desk either. You can't get on my desk either. You can come back on stream, crybaby. You already had your turn, but you can come back on stream since you insist. Since you insist. So yeah, that worked out pretty great. Bit of a shorter stream from me today. But I gotta stop staying up so late. I gotta be a little smarter. And besides, we had a really good density of kitty breaks today. We had more kitty breaks than usual in a 5-hour stream. That was a work of art. They're little angels, little works of art. What's the matter? You don't want to hang out anymore? What's the matter? You don't want to hang out anymore? I thought we were having a good time. You want to hang out anymore? Okay. We don't have to. Like, get to the food, you giant ape. We're all waiting on the frickin' food. We're already waiting on the frickin' food. Hurry it up, you big ape. Well, it's not very nice to call me a big ape, but it is technically correct. I am much bigger than you, and I am certainly more ape-like relative to you, so fair. So I gotta go feed my babies, and I gotta go put my little butt in bed, but I'll be back tomorrow for a Friday fun day, and on that Friday fun day we will of course send it with our various alts. We'll get our alts sorted. We'll have a real good frickin' time. And who knows, depending on how well that goes, how many alts I'm able to do it with, we might find ourselves back in the Mythic Mines by Saturday. But I suspect that between Friday and Saturday, we'll be able to spend a fair whack of time just whacking out alts. And we'll probably still have some time on Monday for a few Mythic Pluses to farm up some more crests. So even if our guild is busting at the seams with drama, no drama from us. Just timing keys and working on alts and cuddling sweet little babies. That's what we're going to be doing. So I hope you'll join me and the Musketeers for that. But if you tuned in, thanks again, Yachten Up, for the new follow. It's very kind of you. And of course, shout out to Channel VIP Disjoint. I hope you feel better, man. I know you're off stream right now, catching some Z's and convalescing. Porthos, I'm outroing. Could you please not do that to my foot while I'm doing the outro? Porthos, could you please not do that to me while I'm doing the outro? Could you please not do that to my feet while I'm doing the outro? Thank you. So yes, definitely get well, Disjoint. I hope you're better enough to enjoy us for the Altstravaganza tomorrow. That's going to be it for now. So if you tuned in, if you followed, if you subbed, if you donated, thank you very much for tuning in and for supporting the stream and helping feed my sweet babies. And I will see you all tomorrow. See ya.